Hey everybody, welcome to the Gapology Guys podcast, your source for leadership development and information on our books and learning services. And tonight we have a very special episode for you. We have an amazing guest and fan of Gapology joining us to share her passion for leadership, impacting teams, and delivering winning results with high standards, using Gapology as her framework. So let's go ahead and jump right in with our conversation with Ann Marie Courchene and Martinez. Hey Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. I'm excited for tonight. We've got an exciting episode. We've got a special guest here. Ann Marie Courchene is joining us.
Wow.
And I'm very excited to do this. We've been talking about getting you on for a while now. Yeah. And this will be an exciting conversation. We'd love to hear from you and hear all about how you have been using Gapology and so forth. So welcome.
Thank awesome. You. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so let me do your formal introduction. We need to make this right. So I'd like to welcome someone special to our podcast tonight. Ann Marie Courchene has worked in retail for over 35 years.
No way.
She was at the regional level at Best Buy for 15 years before being recruited to Cabela's World Outfitters, where she worked for 6 years as VP of Training and Development and Retail Operations. She then met Mark and me at OfficeMax, and I'll let her share that story here in a little bit, along with what she's been doing for the past 15 years in her current role as Senior Director of Donated Goods Retail Operations for Goodwill-Easter Seals of Minnesota. She lives in the beautiful state of Minnesota, my hometown, with her wonderful husband, Tom, her 2 daughters, and 3 dogs, and she's very active. In fact, I was sort of worn out reading all this. She, outside of work, she loves camping, biking, Pilates. I'm already starting to sweat thinking about it. And going to wineries and breweries, much more up my speed for sure. Yeah, welcome, Ann Marie. We appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And we'd love for you to fill us in on all the details about how you met Mark and me and how you first learned about Gapology.
Well, I met Mark because he was the regional vice president for OfficeMax in Colorado, and Cabela's had just done a layoff when we had kind of gone through the recession. And so I had reached out to a couple people that were working for OfficeMax that I knew from my Best Buy days, Jeff Fogelman and Brian Bogie. I always have to say that the right way. And so they got me connected with the local group in Colorado, and I interviewed for a district manager position and got offered the position by Mark. And that had to have been a good almost 20 years ago when Mark and I first met. In Colorado, in your office, when you were walking me through the ins and outs of OfficeMax to offer me the position. And he gave me my choices of where to go. I had Kansas City, Chicago, or Minnesota. And I'm like, don't want to go back to Chicago because that's where I grew up. Not that it was a bad thing. And then did not want to move to Kansas City. And then I thought, hey, Minnesota, I know it from Best Buy, never lived or worked there, but I figure if I can't be in Colorado, I might as well go to the state with 10,000 lakes. And I've been here since. So I've been in Minnesota now for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I'm sort of heard about Kansas City. So, I'm from Minneapolis, of course. So you already won my heart there. But then I'm in Kansas City. I've been here like 20 some years now.
I did live in Kansas City for a time with Best Buy, but I didn't want to go back.
Yeah. You had enough barbecue, I think. Huh?
I love the barbecue. Did not like the winters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sounds good. So thinking about Gapology, so what first struck you after reading the book?
I found it to be a way that was not only easy to understand, easy to apply, and honestly, I've always been a leader who likes to teach too. And I found it to be a way that was a very easy way to explain to leaders on how to really get their hands around their business, how to really evaluate their business, evaluate their team, and really get to the bottom of the opportunities that they might have and how to really move the performance forward through Gapology. So, we talk about the gaps and the knowledge gap, the importance gap, and the action gap. And it's just a really easy way to really get to the bottom of what your business challenge might be and how to do something with it and how to move the business forward. And, when I had gotten to started at Goodwill, we had a real opportunity in production, and it was a mindset change that we needed to go through on top of, a business need to be able to continue to get product produced. Our retail stores deliver the revenue that helps support our services and programs to help, individuals in Minnesota get back into the workforce. So I thought it was, and the funny thing was, I do have to tell this story because I love telling it, is that when I was working for Mark and he would come out and do visits, I was reading, going through and we were doing the pieces of the book and I'm like, well, what the heck? Mark was testing this stuff on us when he was my RVP when I was working for Goodwill or for Office Max. I'm like, he did this with us and he did this with us. And Mark was always such a teacher. And that's what that is one of I've told people this, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast, but he's always been one of my favorite leaders because he was always a teacher. And I really wanted to aspire to that. I wanted to be able to teach people how to get better at their business, how to own their business, and how to really teach and coach their teams to be able to really work through the process in a way that made sense and in a way that they could really see a difference. And you could see results quickly. It was amazing how fast you could impact the results. And even before we knew it was Gapology, I was struggling as a district manager with Office Max. And then Mark came out and spent some time with me. And we talked about some of these concepts that are now in Gapology. And I went from one of the bottom performing district managers to one of the top performing district managers and stayed there.
Wow.
And I just used a lot of the things that Mark was talking to us about and you were teaching to us. And that made a huge impact on me as a leader. And I've taken it with me everywhere I've gone. And then here comes this Gapology thing. And I was just like, oh, okay, let's see what this is about. And so, Mark and I had kept in touch and I was just like, hey, we've got this business opportunity. He's like, well, I've got the solution. And that's how I got Mark connected with Goodwill in Minnesota. And he came out and he worked with me and my team and we put a plan together and we went out and visited stores and talked to people and came back and we're just like, and then we had a full day with the whole team at the office and oh my God, people, and still till this day, leaders that I hired back when I first started with Goodwill are still with us. And they were so excited when we were bringing Goodwill to the whole or to Gapology to the whole organization because they've lived by it. It's just become the way they do business. It's not even Gapology. It's just how we do business. Wow. And so that's pretty awesome to hear too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you were learning Gapology before it was a book.
Correct.
And I would have never written the book. But the head of retail said, you have to write a book. I said, no. He said, no, you have to write a book. So I started writing it, and I joined up with Brian, and we got it all put together.
Yeah.
And it was one of the greatest things I've ever done.
Yeah. It's a way to build confidence in leaders that there's very simple ways to impact the business and people without it being very super complicated. And
it's very real.
It's very real. Yeah.
Yeah. We just observed the top performers. We observed the bottom performers, asked what the difference was. And wow, there it was. It was Gapology. So it became really obvious that it was KINA, knowledge, importance, and action in that sequential order.
Yes.
Being executed, and it can be taught, to anybody. So now we know that it works in every industry in the world.
Yeah. And the cool thing too is like, it's just become like in rolling it out to the whole organization, that was a big step for Goodwill to do that and apply it across all of our leadership, teams. And it's really exciting when I'm on, we have our leadership meetings every quarter and you're hearing this common language about, leaders evaluating themselves. Am I the gap? Is it my team that's the gap? How can I be clear with giving direction and following up? And, and just really using the concepts that they learned. And and we've just had the performance we've had since we've gone to Gapology across the org, not just one area, not just retail. We're talking measurably across the org has been incredible.
Awesome. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's super. That's really great. I'm sort of interested in. So when you think about that impact that you're describing, if you had to sort of roll it up into like one thing, what do you think Gapology has really meant to the teams specifically, but also the business?
Um, I think it's what it's meant to the team is it's given them a tool and a resource to really look at their business in a different light and to be able to very quickly move to action. And our business is a nonprofit. Every dollar that comes into it comes into our stores from donors, anything along those lines. We have to put that dollar to work. And it's and we don't have a whole lot of overhead, right? Because we're a nonprofit. So, really, really maximizing our business and with not a lot of resources. And I think that Gapology has really helped us tie a lot of those pieces together and has helped us find different ways to change business processes, to change overall business results and in a very inexpensive way. What's the book? $36? I know
I
that
don't
sounds
know.
bad, but I mean, but it's given everyone, here's the biggest thing I'd say. We're all kind of working now in the same direction. So it doesn't matter what division you're in within Goodwill. We're all working towards the same thing and we're applying these concepts to, if we have a gap in, something that's going on with a program. We can apply this. If we have a gap with something that's going on in retail, we've used it, we've proven it, we've had success from it, and we've been able to share those successes. The board loves that we're doing these types of things with our leaders to continue to develop them because we don't have a lot of layers within Goodwill, right? So you have your chiefs, then you have your directors, and then you have your managers, and then you have your individual contributors. Well, that we can even, this is something individual contributors can even look at in their day-to-day work and utilize it because we've made it that it's just that kind of a tool that it just becomes part of your culture. I mean, it's just now ingraining into our culture and that common language and people using it and it's so cool to hear how other people are applying it and using it and the difference it's made in the business. Like it's just kind of globally. And our CEO is he teaches at the University of Concordia and at Hamlin, and he teaches nonprofit business. And he has talked about Gapology. He has talked about, how this concept has made such a big difference in the business. And, and for the reasons that I've shared with you is that it's just very quick to get to the bottom of an opportunity that can make a huge impact in the people that work for Goodwill, the participants that we serve, and just really helping us move our mission forward. So it's more of a culture that it's become than it really is just a concept in a book.
Wow. One of the things Brian and I have found is that when the language in the team changes, the
Yeah.
behavior changes.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's sort of the signal that, hey, we're getting there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
quite interesting. We require, as you know, when someone's going to come to one of our sessions, that they read the book or that they read the executive summary at the back of the book before they come, so that we're speaking a common language.
Yeah.
But then when their language changes, everything changes.
That's what's gotten cool. That having that language change and really specifically like now our services and programs are speaking the same language as we've been speaking in DGR for a very long time. And then you have all these other departments, finance and IT and all of that are now also, and the business conversations that we have are just so impactful and fruitful. And it just, I don't know, it just it's one of those things where you're like, wow, I did this. I brought this to Goodwill, and so I'm proud of myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm glad you guys created it, but I'm proud that I brought it to my organization and the
it's
impact
all
it's
yours.
having.
We didn't invent it. We discovered it.
We did, yeah, yeah. Well, exactly.
And
That's
you
a
were
better way
part
to
of
put it.
that.
Yeah,
You were part
yeah,
of that.
yeah. That's exciting too. Yeah, that's why I'm such a believer. Like, I mean, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid of Gapology for years. I mean, what we say, Mark, it's been about 25 years we've known each other.
Somewhere around
It
there.
has to be around there. Yeah, because
20,
I,
20 to 25, somewhere in
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
because I'm going on 15 at Goodwill, and then I was with Office Max for 6.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your math is good.
Not always. You could ask my
That's
husband about
21.
that.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So
That
pretty
was
darn
Kevin
close.
Boget they called me and said, "Hey, you got to interview Anne Marie."
Yeah. Yep.
Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin's a good guy. Yeah, I worked with
Yeah.
him. I was his store manager at Best Buy
Oh,
once
yeah.
upon a time.
I
Yep.
remember that day.
Yep.
And he called me. So,
Oh, good.
sorry,
I'm glad
Brad.
he did.
Yeah, and Anne Marie, I love how you were talking about the book's only $36. It's very accessible, and that was one of the key things that Mark and I talked about at the very beginning. We wanted this to be accessible to everyone, and it really can transfer into any sort of industry. Certainly, I mean, even at a minimum, the podcast is free. People can jump on here, and we've
Yeah.
pretty much taught almost everything from the book. So
Yeah.
we encourage people to read it in its entirety. But if you want to get pieces and bits and bytes, and the podcast is a great way to do it. But I'm sort of interested in how you're actually integrating Gapology into your organization. You explained how everyone's speaking that same language and that kind of thing. So I think this is an important point for our listeners out there that are interested in Gapology. How do you actually take it in, put it to work for your organization?
Well, what we did is when the executive team approved us to roll this out to the entire organization. At the time I was running what we call our director council, and that is the senior director runs the council with very high level directors that want to take on some extra, more strategic view of the organization and work on some of those more strategic projects. So, with that group, we really went through all the different pieces of Gapology, and it bucketed perfectly for us because there's 3 buckets, right? There's the 3 gaps: knowledge, important, and action. So we broke out each section of the book, and then we had expectations of, okay, by the next time, the first quarter leadership meeting, directors, you and your teams need to be here. We want you to have this portion done, and then we'd have questions that we would do breakouts, and everyone would, and when we break out, we're broken out with different leaders, not just the leaders we work with on a day-to-day basis, but divisionally. And we'd have breakouts and we'd have questions that some of the questions, Brian, were from the workbook. And basically, we use that workbook to bring to these meetings, and then we'd go around the table and we would all share and provide feedback on how we've put some of these things into practice and some examples of what has happened and some examples of successes we've had, or hey, we had this challenge, but here's how we got past it. And then we all could share, with each other on how we felt about, or if we got stuck with a piece of the book, let's say, or a piece of a concept, then we could talk through that and help each other out. And then it just became like people were, like, do we have to wait until the next quarterly meeting to have these conversations? And then what we also did is we had the leaders and that have, other managers, like if I'm a director and I have managers reporting to me, on their weekly statuses with those leaders, and or if they had a team call, they were bringing that Gapology piece to those calls to talk to their teams about it too. Asking questions, how you feeling about this? Hey, can you share any examples of how you've applied this? And just really keeping it alive and really getting feedback from the team to keep it going and to continue to build on it. Because you really kind of have to land the knowledge piece to start building on the importance piece and then to really taking it to action. So we broke it out into those 3 pieces and made it manageable for the teams, so we weren't giving on top of, like I said, we don't have a lot of layers in Goodwill, so we've got a lot on our plates. We've got a lot going on, but how do we make it digestible so that we keep people interested in it and they actually do it. So then, and then the executive team all the way up is following up with their directors, making sure, hey, what have you been doing? How have you been using this with your team? Walk me through how you've applied it. So we have buy-in from, our CEO all the way down, in getting this and utilizing it and following up and verifying that, people are doing the work because we made an investment to do this. And so it's that validation and, just checking and making sure. And if there's an area or an opportunity that, maybe is coming up and it seems to be that way org-wide, then that's something that the director council would talk about. And then we would come up with some ideas about how we could help people get through that piece. So it's just a constant, it never stops. It's like built into, our daily, our weekly, our monthly, our quarterly behavior to really be talking about this and getting feedback from the team, and how they're utilizing it, and how they're applying. And we weaved in our organizational competencies per level throughout the organization. So, these competencies really tie to this knowledge piece. These competencies will also help build, what we can help build these competencies within the importance piece and then in the action piece. So all of our competencies, it was pretty scary how perfectly they merged with Gapology and the whole process and how it's laid out. It worked beautifully. And competencies is really what we want to continue to develop our leaders, to have. And even if we have leaders that want to move up, is, how do you make sure that you have what you need to get to that next level, and the key pieces and key resources to help them get there. And it's amazing the difference that it has made in a lot of leaders in this organization that I would say that, just have never had this kind of training before, or this kind of resource, or this kind of tool to be able to apply to the business like Gapology has been for us. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
What's that?
Just slightly.
Oh my God.
No, you're bringing up the fact that Gapology likely impacts the entire life of people that learn it.
Yes.
They then bring
Yes.
it to their family, they bring it to their team, they bring it to others, and
It's a life tool, honestly.
it works everywhere.
Yeah.
And the stories we've heard over the years are amazing. Yours are amazing, to hear.
Yeah.
And it impacts results
Yep.
in a dramatic fashion.
In a dramatic fashion. Absolutely.
And so it's just wonderful for us to hear that from you.
Yeah. Well, and I have a new director that just started and he hasn't been, and I'm taking him through Gapology and we have some opportunities and I'm like,
Great.
okay, so let's sit down, let's talk about this. And I'm having him read the first section. So then it's like, okay, now that you've been in the business for a couple months, let's look at this and tell me what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so, and that it's just, in that way, it continues to just reinforce and we continue to just work down that path. And it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A few things I actually jotted down I want to call out that I think are sort of important here. So, and because I'd like to also translate this for our listeners so that they can hear these tips to make it real in your business. We've taught lots and lots of workshops over the years, and I will honestly say there's been a handful that have taken it and actually integrated it into what they do every day. Mm-hmm. So just, we come in, we do a presentation, and they just kind of take it for what that's worth. But some really get into it and start applying these things, and it moves the needle huge. So experiential and then shared learning. I thought that was great how you involved everybody into each of the sessions that you did, where you sort of chunked the learning together, so that you didn't do it all at once. So it was just like a fire hose type of training. You rolled it out intentionally in chunks. I love that. And I love the fact that you said CEO all the way down. That means, I think, the most. If it's important to the top leader, then it's going to be important to the people below. I love that. So I just wanted to call out those couple of things. I really love the pacing that you did with it. I think that really makes sense. It's really wise. And I can't wait to see everybody in August to hear from them their stories as well. So
Yeah, that's going to be great.
One thing I would like to know is, when we talk about actually results and moving the needle, what elements stand out to you as maybe the most important things or the most impactful things that really move the needle from Gapology?
I'll share an example of something that I did, and how I used it, that made a significant business impact. So, my throughout time, we had changed up the business and reporting structures and all of that. So there came a point recently when the my partner, the other senior director, he took on another position with another Goodwill. So I was running stores and doing my piece of the world. And just kind of identified an opportunity we had in one of our divisions, which is our e-com department, so our .com business. And so where this all started is I'm like, well, it needs more attention, and it was reporting to our CFO, or no, I'm sorry, our chief of retail, donated goods retail and marketing at the time. And I said, he doesn't have the time to get out and be in the building. And it needs more attention than I think it's getting. So I went to him and I asked him, I said, hey, I think I'm in a position right now where I can take on e-com. Would you consider that? And so he did. Talked to our CEO. They agreed. Yep, I think it's a good time. Yes, let's go ahead and make that move. Well, one of the things I identified at ecom is, one, the last 4 months of the previous fiscal year, we missed budget and we missed it bad. And then the other thing I tied to that and I looked at was that at the employee experience survey that we do, with our employees, it's kind of every month. It's like, it depends on your birthday. Ecom was the worst in the organization as it related to employee engagement. So I attacked it from that angle, and I basically just used the model. I went in and I identified that, here's the opportunity, here's the knowledge gap that we have going on. Managers are not communicating to employees. Employees don't understand what's going on. We have all this change happening, and it's happening at such a rapid pace and we're not bringing them along with us and giving them the knowledge as to why this is happening and the changes that are happening to bring them along with us. So we weren't doing that, and we weren't helping them understand the importance of this change in this environment and this business. And so, so there were two major things right there. So I just stopped at the knowledge and the importance. And so then I had a meeting and I brought all the leaders in and we had a full day meeting and I gave them homework right out of Gapology. What do you think is causing this? Who do you think is responsible for it? What do you think we need to do differently? And then how do we move? How do we do this, and how do we move it? And then I didn't even talk performance. It was really about our behavior. It was about their behavior, how they're interacting, how the lack of communication between each other as leaders, and then down to the team that was there. Turnover was high, always getting new people in. So we really broke it down into bite-sized pieces to and our action plan revolved around Gapology. It was knowledge, importance, and then what actions are we going to take? Because that's what I'm holding you accountable for. And sometimes you have to have those hard conversations where you say, look, if this leadership team isn't going to put the time and effort in to move this forward, then I'm going to find a team that can. Period. And so the leadership team wrote a plan. And I said, give yourself three things. Just do it within these three buckets and set the plan up that way, because it has to be something that you guys can manage too. So they did put it into, they were serious about it. They were engaged. The approach was what got their attention, and how we broke it down and how they could look at the business and how they had to look in the mirror that, maybe it's not the team, maybe it's the leaders and how we're behaving and how we're acting and how we're showing up. And once they identified that, it was like everything changed. the culture of the location changed because now leaders are more on purpose. They're on purpose about communication. They're on purpose about making sure that employees know and understand what's going on. They're on purpose about, saying hello to people when they walk in every day, and we went from missing 4 months worth of sales, which is an extremely important avenue of growth for us to help continue to support our mission and programs. And then I kid you not, within under 90 days, we flipped it around and now we're blowing budget out of the water. And we couldn't really make up the difference of last year, but this year to date, we're way, 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 way over budget. And it's because the team really just took the time to take the step back and really analyze what was going on. And you know how we say, well, maybe I'm the gap. Well, they weren't seeing it as that. They just kept fighting with each other. And I just, sometimes you have to be the leader. I hadn't been managing it, but that's the bickering. That's what I was hearing. And I kind of knew exactly how to go after it. And then when we broke it down, and made it in and did it in a way that they understood it. And then they were so excited to see the next employee engagement. And we went from 46.5% in overall engagement. The next quarter, we were 65% best in the company. And we went from 12% engagement in taking the survey to 50%.
Wow.
So there's an example for you.
Wow.
Hey, you mentioned I'm the Gap. We have a T-shirt that is I'm the Gap.
Yep.
Be a good one to give out to everyone. I wore it last podcast.
I think I'm the gap. That is the hardest thing for a leader to do. It's really to look in the mirror and recognize that, you're the problem. And once they realize that their behavior was affecting everything in the building, it was like overnight change. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch that happen. I mean, Brent sent out a note. Michael, my CEO, sent me a note. It was like, oh my goodness, like congratulations. And they've maintained it.
Yeah.
So I was very, very, very proud of them. And then the sales have been unbelievable. And it just keeps getting better.
When every leader owns their results to the point of understanding that they're the gap, if the results are not what they need to be, changes everything.
Yep.
They can change the results very quickly.
It was amazing. It was just amazing. And I just sat there and I was so nervous to open the report to see how we did. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh my God. At the exact same time I was sending my boss a note, he was sending me a note because he was so excited to see the results as well. So it was pretty significant, the change we made in such a short period of time though. Think about turning that boat around.
Yeah.
And such a significant piece of the business. And so I was just like, yes. And I use that example, like when we were looking to roll this out to the organization, I really leaned on this example to show them how powerful it can be and what we can do.
Yeah. One of the things we've found is that when you can get it down to the level of customer interaction, whoever is interacting with the customer, that the results can really change dramatically as well.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that absolutely. Well, and they feel a change in the team too, like the atmosphere in the store, the culture in the store. You always know this, Mark. You walk into a store and you know if it feels good or you know it doesn't. You can tell within 2 seconds of walking in, and if someone even says hello to you. That was something you always taught us, is like you can walk into a store and you know exactly the temperature of this store from 2 minutes of walking in the front door. And it's true. It is very this is kind of funny. I went to yesterday to get some stuff to grill, and you could tell that this employee did not want to be there. He did not want to help me, and he was just doing what he had to do until the clock rang that he could go home. It was so obvious. It was scary.
Yeah. And where was his leader?
Yeah, exactly.
It should have been obvious to them.
So Ann Marie, so a couple of things that I took out of there is that ownership piece that you said. And I will tell you, in all the workshops that we teach, every single time, the number one thing that people take away is what you just described there, that we as leaders, we own our results and we own the gaps. If we have a knowledge gap or our team doesn't know what to do or how to do it, we own that. If our
Yep.
team has an importance gap where they don't know why or when they need to do something,
Yep.
we own that as well. And we own pieces of closing that action gap as well. So that ownership piece is really always that number one thing people take away. So
Yeah.
that's exciting that you shared that. I
Yeah.
would like to ask you, so thinking about for our listeners here, what piece of advice would you give them based on your experience with Gapology?
I would say that they need to really understand, they really need to be able to look at themselves as a leader and know where they're at in order to be able to utilize something like this and make it work for them and to build it into their culture. So their language, their actions, the way they approach things, the way that they talk to their team. I mean, all of those things are critical in them really building a culture around this. It's not really just a tool or a book to read. And I've read a million leadership books, but I've never had a leadership book like this that, I really slowed down, took the time to apply these things and really see how it could make a difference. So if you have an interest in, you really need to take the time, you really need to understand it, and then you really need to look at how you can apply it to your business and practice it. Practice, practice, practice. I mean, no matter what I do, I can't even tell you how many times I've never been able to do a side plank in Pilates. And I kept practicing and practicing and practicing, and darn it, I finally did it. But you have to practice it. You have to practice it to get good at it. And you really have to, one of the things I always pride myself on is, you can live your organizational values, and that's great. But when you can start teaching them, that's really when your leadership goes up to the next level. And that's where I really see how Gapology can come into play, as you're really teaching leaders something that they can take with them, no matter whether they stay with Goodwill or they go work somewhere else. It's just a tool for life. Like, Mark and I had, we had talked about earlier. It's something you can use everywhere. I've even used it with my kids and shared it with my kids, when they run into a challenging situation, I mean, it's,
You need it.
I said in my notes, you could just ask my husband.
Well, of course, he's the gap. So,
Yeah.
Right.
and
So,
he's well aware.
yeah. Yeah, he is. Oh goodness. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't even see it as really Gapology anymore. I just see it as who I am as a leader and how I lead. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way for me to put
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
It has helped me grow as a leader and grow my confidence as a leader.
Love that. Love that. And any last words of wisdom that you want to leave everybody with?
If you haven't done it, do it. Like, get the book. I mean,
Write that down,
really,
Brian. That's a
yeah, I mean,
t-shirt.
it
You
If you
haven't
it's
haven't
just,
done it, do it.
do
if you
it.
haven't done it, do it.
Yeah.
Do it on the back. If you haven't done it on the front,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's perfect. That's everything in a nutshell.
I've never heard that before.
Well, kind of like just do it.
Yeah.
No, I believe in it. I mean, and I mean, I'd even be willing to, provide feedback to people. I've had other Goodwills call me and ask me about it, because when we were, when we did it, when we had Mark come out and he did you guys came out and did the first one, with our team. But like I said, if you haven't, if I truly believe in it, and it has made a significant difference in my leadership and in my organization, any organization I've been with since, Gapology came out, or since I worked for Mark, I guess. So I guess I kind of went from Mark to Goodwill, so I haven't really gone anywhere in between. But we rolled it out just to retail, and now we've rolled it out to our entire organization.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Mark, do
it
you have
can
any
change your
final
business.
words as well or questions?
Well, so the one thing I learned during my time with Ann Marie is I came with a set of teachable points of view to every time we were together.
Yeah.
So, given a circumstance in a given store we were visiting, I would be prepared with teachable points of view from Gapology, in essence, that
Hmm.
could change their world. And I would bring out a flip chart. I don't know if you know what a flip chart is anymore, but it's this thing Brian used to bring out an easel and then this white
Yep.
thing that we would flip over. And I would teach T times M equals P. I've taught now over the years, talent times mindset equals performance. I've taught that to athletes and others, and it's been life-changing. And so that's significant. I've taught the habit ladder. Pepsi, of course, rolled the habit ladder worldwide. It became their foundation. The habit ladder is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of Gapology. The commitment ladder comes into play every time I'm visiting, with leaders. And that is something that's often unknown, and it's a great teachable point of view. And then I teach knowing, doing, being on a scale, which we've put in the 15th anniversary of Gapology. We've updated the book, and that's in there. And so there's a number of things that a leader can do, that a leader can bring in their toolbox every day, and then use them, situationally, to change the results of a given team. And so when I worked with you, I would come with teachable points of view and then apply them as a teacher to the group to try and change the results. And that worked really well. And that's why we were always the top performers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is one of the things I appreciated about you, because I always walked away with something that I was useful to me. And whenever you and I would go into a store together, the next day performance improved. Like you could see the difference in performance from just being there one day.
Yeah. And that one teachable point of view could last forever. Yeah. It's something you would teach everywhere. So yeah. No, it's awesome. The other thing that I think of is the original Gapology book is on Audible. And one of the things I do is when I'm going somewhere, I anticipate what the gaps may be, and I play a chapter while I'm driving there from Audible. And Audible becomes an incredible tool then to prepare me. So believe it or not, when I hear that chapter, I don't connect with having written it.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from it, and then I'm able to speak to that when I get there. So that's been a great tool for me. Brian recorded Audible, Brian and Joe, his wife, and so that is an amazing tool. So I keep that on my phone so that wherever I'm going, I can listen to chapters and connect with them. So.
And kind of get your mindset ready on, how you want to approach things. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. I love introducing it to new leaders because they just sit there and they go, why haven't I heard about this?
Right. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah. Well, thank you and Brian for creating Gapology, because it has been discovering Gapology, because it's made a huge difference in for me as a leader and many, many leaders that I've influenced over the years. Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing it to life.
Yeah. And thank you as well. And I think that's probably a good place to leave it. If anybody wants to hear more, make sure to reach out. We have our email is contact@gapology.org. That is our email. You can also just check out our website, which is gapology.org. All the information on everything is right there. But Ann Marie, thank you again for joining us tonight. This was great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of you too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Have a great rest of the night, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right, that'll do it from here. For more information on Gapology, head on over to our website, gapology.org. Everyone have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you soon.